And there we are. We're going to try something new today for the first time. I'm not going to check and see that this is working. I'm just going to go with it. I'm John Miglosh with the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. And I'm going to. There we go. So, no 5 minute getting everything working, and no nothing. So, here we go. Good morning, world. Good morning down in the deep south, southwest. It's raining and cold here in Wisconsin today, but we had a nice weekend. So let's go over here and start the news. Okay, Claritas released a report on Saturday, it looks like, on the growing economic power of America's 64 million Hispanic people, which means about 20% of the U.S. population. And you can see here's an ad from Target. Más contento, more content, more happy. You know, more happiness. I don't know. I speak. I only had 5 years of Spanish, but that was 40 years ago. So I can make my way in Hispanic countries fairly well, I suppose. It comes back to me. But the point they wanted to make, and I thought was a really interesting point, was that Hispanic households will outspend non-Hispanic counterparts by well over $500,000. Now, part of that, this is a little bit of hype and clickbait, because if you look at per capita spending, not so much. And, the challenge with digital advertising, if you think about it, I sit in my chair, my leather, beautiful, soft, easy chair, and I watch the Brewers game with my headphones in, or one headphone in anyway. And my wife is watching this peculiar Hasidic drama on Netflix, I think. And my sister got her into it. And so we used to think about targeting households. We still do in mail, direct mail. But even then, we knew that my wife had the Chadwicks open on the counter this morning, and I tend to go for the Cabela's or the Paul Fredericks or something like that. So but with digital, we have our personal watching devices. I have my laptop. I have a laptop on my I have two laptops in the office here, and my desktop, and my phone. So, and then there's one that I leave at home, a laptop. And I probably have a dozen laptops laying around the house. And I have more than that here, but you can only watch one at a time. But the point is that my spending is fragmented in my household, right? And my attention is fragmented. So the bottom line is, with a larger household size, Hispanics consume more. Okay. Right. Yeah, if you have 10 kids or 5 kids. I had 4 kids. We spent more than somebody without any kids. Maybe. But probably less luxury travel and other luxury goods. And it turns out that the place they really outspend is in laundry soap and cleaning supplies. So, they're people. They use what we use, but the skew is built in by the household size. The household size is a bit bigger, and the income is a little smaller. So most of this is a bunch of nothing. What I thought was fun was that there were Claritas, which is the old Prism clusters, guns and station wagons, or guns and pickup trucks, furs and station wagons. There are no station wagons anymore. The cart rules put them out of business. Now we have crossover SUVs, which should be station wagons, but they're not. Thank you, government regulations. Anyway, 17% are what the report calls Americanizado. And they probably speak mostly English, little Spanish, like me, and shop at Whole Foods, which we don't have one around, but we have a Piggly Wiggly. Then 13%. I love the 12.6%. Like there's some kind of magical precision to these categories. They aren't. But, that's another thing for persuasion. Latino Americana. Now see, this is male Americanizado. It's like a male guy who's Hispanic, and this is a female Latino. Actually, it's interesting because it should be Latina Americana. I don't know. I don't know that these people knew anything about Spanish. It should really be Latina Americana, I would say. I don't know that much about Spanish either. The largest segment, see this one they got Nueva Latina. At least they got the, they put the two together properly. They prefer to speak English. They were born in the U.S. They have Hispanic cultural preferences, but they prefer to speak English. So that was interesting to me because I believe that we should have a national language. I believe it's insanity not to, and to try. They say that Waco, Texas, I think it was, or El Paso had 40 some languages that might come into 911. Maybe we'll figure it out with the Universal Translator, but it really does limit your options in the United States when 80% at least, probably according to this then it'd be more like 95%, have English as their first language. And to accommodate is only to delay the inevitable, which you can see from this, that the children for sure, and the grandchildren absolutamente, are going to be speaking English. So my wife was third generation. I was third generation Austrian, but my wife was third generation Italian, and her grandfather told her mom, we're not speaking Italian. We speak English in this household, because he wanted to accelerate the change. And I think that's reasonable. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so Hertz is suing Accenture, and they are upset because they did a $32 million project and it hasn't worked out well. And so Stuart, who I connected with, said that a couple of lessons are worth learning. He spent a lot of time talking about digital transformation. I think we need to get past that. We need to talk about, if you want to talk about scientific advertising or direct marketing as a way of using experimental design in data, I think that's wonderful. And that will transform your company on its own. If you're talking about digital as some kind of alternative to mass media or print media, or it's just not, there's no clear delineation, and it's not really different. The same techniques pretty much apply, but a direct marketing transformation is dramatic, because you start saying we're going to test something every time. You could do that in email, you could do that in mass media, you can do it everywhere you are doing marketing. And I highly recommend books like what's Bob Stone's Successful Direct Marketing Methods. I can see it. It's up on the wall. That's the kind of book you need to read. Or you can read my little book, which I usually keep one here so I can lift it up and show you. This will give you a taste for it, but it's really just a summary, an executive summary in how to turn data into money. But it'll give you the gist of it. Okay, so I think, Hertz, he says, seemed to have the right attitude. Now, I was involved with Toys R Us depositions. A new buying group came in and they said, we want to transform stuff, and they went to all these data places and said, the sky's the limit. And the average bill was $6 million a year, I think, 4 to 6. And someone I knew did it for about $600,000 a year, which is still a lot. I probably would have done it for even less if I would have had the chance, but no one called me on that one. Luckily, because then they came back and did something like Hertz is doing. So I have some empathy for Accenture, but one of the points they made was a lack of product ownership at Hertz, oftentimes the case. Hard to get the client even to talk to you. Another one should be, let's not do a $32 million. Sometimes people pat themselves on the back because it's such a big project. We're doing a $32 million project. I see that in SAP installations also. But instead, let's try something small. Let's try to fix our current order processing system a little bit for a couple of years, get our data in line, and then do the conversion rather than trying to fix it after. And I think both of those are sound points. I'm John Miglosh. Watch out. IT and marketing, always a challenge. Bye-bye.